Hey, did you know that there's a new live record from Leprous? Yeah, I didn't either. It's kind of a live record and kind of not. Anyway, let's just dive into it. Aphelion, the tour edition by Leprous. So, Leprous, progressive metal, great guys, getting their start in the later 2000s, coming on the scene with, now I believe it's the Tall Poppy Syndrome, but I think there was actually one earlier than that. And really kind of blew the progressive metal scene from there just completely away. You know, having this really dark and gothic ideas with this big symphonic sound that we didn't quite have up to that point. I loved Bilateral and Cole, but for me, like the peak was the Congregation. They've put out a number of albums since then with a live album, and this is kind of following off the heels of Aphelion, the last album they put out in 2021. So I was actually excited to hear if they were going to put out like a full new album because, you know, they go about every 2 to 3 years and then put out a new album. And Aphelion was fine. You know, it was fine. I just feel like their last handful of albums like Pitfalls and Melina, they were fine, but they didn't quite have that same powerhouse oomph that we got from the Congregation, Cole, or Bilateral. You can already see my full review of Aphelion right up there. This is basically that album. It's got 2 bonus tracks at the end, Prophecy to Trust and a live version of Acquired Taste. And then we go right into their live at Motor Call tour with Out of Here, From the Flame, Below, The Price, Nighttime Disguise, and The Sky is Red. Really a good smattering of tracks from their later offerings because we already had their live album after The Congregation. So I feel like kind of touching any of those tracks would, you know, it's like kind of like, why would you want to do that? So I like the fact that they're, you know, putting stuff from Melina onward on here, plus The Price, to kind of, you know, help bring about the rest of these tracks. And hearing a few of these tracks played live is really quite good, especially for tracks that I really did enjoy from those later albums. Nighttime Disguise was one of my favorite tracks from Aphelion, so it was really, really cool to hear it played live. And hearing some of the popular cuts from the latest album, like Out of Here, was fine. You know, it was good. I also really liked when they played The Price, because again, Congregation is my favorite record from them. But hearing The Sky is Red, so, you know, kind of ending the album off with these 2 big punches was really quite tasty. And hearing The Sky is Red, which was my favorite track from Pitfalls outside of maybe At the Bottom, was really good. I mean, I kind of wish that they had At the Bottom on the album, but they at least had Below, which was kind of like the big track from Pitfalls. So yeah, in the end, it was a very interesting treat, you know, and I haven't seen too many bands do this where they kind of have a tour edition of their latest album where they have, you know, a smattering of live albums on a double, like on the second disc. If you haven't already picked up Aphelion, this would probably be the way that I would want to listen to it, with a bunch of the live tracks as like a little bonus treat. But if you've already heard Aphelion, I don't really know if you need to get it a second time. You know, like this is one that I would probably stream those live tracks, or see if they put these tracks out on like a fan EP disc or like a fan exclusive thing, because it's still really interesting and really fun to listen to. So yeah, it was really interesting and really fun. I love to hear Aphelion again. It got me back into that mood set. You know, still not my favorite, but, you know, it was still interesting to come back to it. I really like to hear a lot of these tracks played live. It also kind of shows that, you know, the band brings a completely different energy in a live setting. It's not like these tracks are completely different by any means, but it's just like the energy is different. You know, there's a little bit more of a raw edge to these tracks, and I think that's how these tracks should be played. I would really love, even though Melina is not my favorite album of theirs, I would love to hear like a full live album from Melina. Melina? I always don't know how to pronounce it. And hear that album be performed in full live, because I think those tracks more than any deserve to have that kind of live treatment. But as we have here, it's fine. You know, I would say that Aphelion, the tour edition from Leprous, is still one that I would stream. Again, if you're a completionist, if you're a Leprous completionist, or if you're a Leprous fan, I'm not going to say don't pick it up, but what I will say is just know that you're basically just buying the album again with a couple extra tracks. If you haven't already picked up Aphelion, I would say pick it up in physical format, but as it stands right now, you know, there's not enough new material on here for me to go run out and pick it up. I'll give it a couple streams and probably wait in bated breath for their next album. So yeah, that's what I've got about this one. What do you guys think about this album? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think about like these live records that are just kind of tacked on the end of like this kind of tour edition, even though this album is like 2 years after the actual original release? Let me know all about that by commenting down below. And that's all I've got for you guys today. You know, that's all I got. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.